Hi, and thanks for joining me for my top 5 favorite video game systems of all time. My number 2 favorite video game system was the first system that I bought with my first paycheck from a job. It's none other than the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 was released in 2005 and has sold over 760 million consoles worldwide. The system has 4 controller ports, 4 USB ports, Ethernet cables, Wi-Fi, and can support the peripheral, the Xbox Connect. It has a removable hard drive of various sizes, and it has a DVD drive with limited backwards compatibility for regular Xbox games. Now, there are 3 versions to the system. First, there was the original core system, which was white, and this was the only version that the system came in. Eventually, they released the Elite, which was the same system but black and was supposed to fix internal issues, but it didn't. Then they released the Xbox Slim, which came in both shiny black and matte black. This has officially fixed all internal problems of the system. The Xbox 360 was one of the first video game consoles to actually have a evolving operating system. This is called the Xbox Dashboard, which is essentially the hub to access different content. Look at content online, you can actually go on the internet, you can use apps and watch things such as Netflix, Hulu Plus, listen to iHeartRadio. You can download full AAA titles or indie games or arcade games, both new and old. You can buy and rent movies and music. You can copy files from one hard drive to another. And you have things called avatars, which can either just regularly be your avatar just to represent you, or you can even play as your avatar in certain games. The big selling point of the Xbox 360 is Xbox Live. This allows you to go online and play games with other players around the world. The reason why I got the Xbox 360, my friend got one, and because he had a very poor internet connection, he would bring it over to my place and we would play Halo 2 online. I instantly fell in love with the system, and it didn't hurt that my favorite series, Sonic the Hedgehog, had just come out with a new game only on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I hate that it's overpopulated with hardcore muscle man shooters, and the Halo games are starting to overstay their welcome, and Gears of War and Call of Duty. But I do like that publishers still are taking risks on the Xbox 360. Especially the indie gamers are coming out with crazy ideas like Limbo and Super Meat Boy. These titles are absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love just how easy it is to just pick up and play, and there's a genre for everyone out there. I wish the Xbox 360 did have some better JRPGs, but there's a reason for that. Now it's time for the Did You Know section. Did you know that sales are very poor in Japan for the Xbox 360? Out of all the years that it's been available, they've only sold about 2 million systems. I read a recent interview with a Japanese developer who said that the Japanese like to use their own products. The Xbox 360 does extremely well in the US and Europe, but in Japan they rely more closely with Sony and Nintendo, being Japanese companies. This is why there aren't that many great JRPGs on the 360. An interesting thing that would have changed history was that Microsoft once thought about buying Sega. When Microsoft was wanting to get into the console race, they considered buying Sega instead of having to create their own system. This didn't go very far because Bill Gates didn't think that Sega had the muscle to take down Sony, who was dominating the video game market at that time. And so Microsoft went ahead and created their very first system, the Xbox. Now, earlier I was talking about internal issues with the original Core and Elite systems.
Foretold? Explain yourself.
This was called the Red Ring of Death. Your system would suddenly freeze, and the lights on the front of the system would be displayed red, and your console would not work. You would have to ship it to Microsoft, and they would ship you back a new console. And this was a big problem when the system originally shipped, because people were having problems, not trusting Microsoft anymore. But the new Slim version has completely taken that out. Let me ask you this. Do you remember these words? HD DVD player.
I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to forgetting it.
Yeah, before Blu-ray there was a format called an HD DVD. And then Blu-ray came around, and there was a war between which would become the standard, HD DVD or Blu-ray. Eventually Blu-ray won, and HD DVDs were no longer put into production. Sadly, the Xbox 360 had made a peripheral, which was an HD DVD player. It's now an obsolete box. Alright, thank you guys for joining me, and join me next time for my #1 favorite video game system of all time.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?